Alright, my friends, you are watching Political Point Magazine. Where the right is right, and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. Well, Obama requests a use of force resolution, which is no different than his failed strategy to combat ISIS. And Political Points will examine the president's failed strategy. And also, NBC News suspends Brian Williams for 6 months for his chronological lying, and I doubt that he will ever return to the airwaves there. All right, but also Scott Walker rises to the top of the GOP 2016 race. All right, we will discuss more about that. All right, and also Netanyahu is set to address Congress next month, but Obama and some Dems refused to meet and try to boycott. But we find it quite unusual. This is all happening. But anyhow, we will talk to you, the viewers, on this and more. And also tonight, we welcome you to another edition of Political Point Magazine. Yes, I am your humble host. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, Political Point. Okay, I am your humble host, William Mitro. Alright, my friends. Yes. Alright, so now we have a situation here where the president has finally asked for the help of Congress to debate the issue over how to combat and defeat ISIS. All right, because we all know now that the administration has been reluctant to put ground forces down there, as we played last week from Susan Rice, right? Okay, Susan Rice now has did a speech at the Brookings Institute about the Obama strategy. Okay, and this was a couple weeks ago, and then directly the week after, all right, last week, President Obama comes out and asks for and puts out a draft resolution. Okay, a draft resolution for the use of force. All right. Now, this, my friends, is quite interesting, because he lays it out in a way that informs the enemy that, oh, we're not going to send ground troops in, right? Okay, to combat them. All right. So and so with this, my friends, it's just okay. So Obama lays out his little failed strategy, and we have been asking now, what is the strategy, Mr. President? Okay, and this comes in light of ISIS literally assassinating more people, okay, and Christians and Jews and stuff like this, okay, and this comes on the heels of when ISIS just took over Yemen, okay, and territory in Yemen and stuff, and you see a pattern here of how the terrorists have been forming, okay, and so on this note, okay, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, okay, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell welcomes the debate, okay, on whether to grant use of force on this resolution. Right. Okay. So here's the Senate Majority Leader.
It was clear from the outset that a successful military campaign to defeat ISIL would require a multi-year effort. So it's certainly in order for Congress to debate an authorization like this. And because Congress must meet its responsibility to decide whether our military should use force, the Senate will review the President's request thoughtfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now. And the House of Representatives is already putting together something as well, okay. But this, my friends, comes on the heels of the killing of that aid worker and whatnot. Okay, so but we've been asking, what is the strategy? And we've been noticing that the strategy coming from the president now seems to be that he's trying to be PC, all right, and which is really hurting his strategy. All right, come to think of it, okay, it's really hurting his strategy. Okay, we played Susan Rice last week, all right, and her laying out the strategy of no ground forces on the ground, to combat these people. When there's 4-star generals, okay, 4-star generals now, okay, that have come out and said that you're not going to defeat ISIS without at least 50 to 100,000 ground forces, ground troops on the ground to combat ISIS. All right, but this is quite interesting. So last week, the president comes out with the Secretary of Defense and the outgoing Secretary of Defense, mind you, and the Secretary of State, John Kerry. Okay, but mind you, okay, so he comes into the room at the White House, all right, to announce what he wants to do as far as his strategy is concerned, all right? And so, with this, my friends, it comes as such a shock here, all right? It comes as such a shock here, but and I'm gonna play this for you because we do have the speech, okay? And I found it quite ridiculous. Okay, that and every time the president gets up there, he just seems to make a fool out of himself. It just is ridiculous the way he contends to get everything all together, right? And he claims that, oh, we're gonna dismantle ISIS, we're gonna destroy ISIS, we're gonna decimate ISIS, and defeat ISIS. And this, my friends, is just ridiculous, considering how how far and how much ISIS has expanded and grown under this president. Okay, under this president's strategy. Okay, when it was only becoming that that the moment that we pulled out of Iraq, ISIS grew out of Al Qaeda in Iraq. All right, and it's because of this president that the terrorists have expanded and grown. They're not only in Iraq. They're not only in Syria. They're in Yemen. They're in France. They're in Turkey. They're in Africa. They're all over the place. They're even here. They're even building terror cells in America here. Okay, so I don't see the strategy. Okay, I don't see the success. I don't see success in the future of this strategy. Okay, and another thing he laid out that in his speech, okay, to request this resolution, right, was it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time. So the president, okay, Obama requests the use of force, okay, and then he claims that it repeals one of the resolutions that was from back in 2002, I believe, when Bush requested the use of force, but it doesn't repeal the one in 2001. Okay, when after we retaliated, that allows the president, grants the president authority to use force against the terrorists. All right. So, but with this, my friends, as with the president, okay, and I'm gonna show this for you. All right, and it's coming in. All right, but I'm gonna show you this. All right, and then I'm going to have to show you some other clips because we are going to examine the president's failed strategy. Okay, the president's failed strategy on this. All right, so here he comes. All right, so the president comes out here, and here it is. All right, take a look. All right.
Good afternoon. Today, as part of an international coalition of some 60 nations, including Arab countries, our men and women in uniform continue to fight against ISIL in Iraq and in Syria. More than 2,000 coalition airstrikes have pounded these terrorists. We're disrupting their command and control and supply lines, making it harder for them to move. We're destroying their fighting positions, their tanks, their vehicles, their barracks, their training camps, and the oil and gas facilities and infrastructure that fund their operations. We're taking out their commanders, their fighters, and their leaders. In Iraq, local forces have largely held the line and in some places have pushed ISIL back.
Not really, my friend. Okay, they've expanded. All right, okay, now, but I want you to take a listen to what he says further down the line here. All right, and because this is quite significant to his overall.
Now, make no mistake, this is a difficult mission, and it will remain difficult for some time. It's going to take time to dislodge these terrorists, especially from urban areas. But our coalition is on the offensive. ISIL is on the defensive, and ISIL is going to lose. Its barbaric murders of so many people, including American hostages, are a desperate and revolting attempt to strike fear in the hearts of people it can never possibly win over by its ideas or its ideology, because it offers nothing but misery and death and destruction.
Really? Okay, but now, you notice he says that ISIS is on the defensive, and we are on the offensive, right? and he claims that they're going to leave.
Strongest as a nation when the President and Congress work together. Today, my administration submitted a draft resolution to Congress to authorize the use of force against ISIL. I want to be very clear about what it does and what it does not do. This resolution reflects our core objective to destroy ISIL. It supports the comprehensive strategy that we've been pursuing with our allies and our partners. A systemic and sustained campaign of airstrikes against ISIL in Iraq and Syria, support and training for local forces on the ground, including the moderate Syrian opposition, preventing ISIL attacks in the region and beyond, including by foreign terrorist fighters who try to threaten our countries, regional and international support for an inclusive Iraqi government that unites the Iraqi people and strengthens Iraqi forces against ISIL, humanitarian assistance for the innocent civilians of Iraq and Syria who are suffering so terribly under ISIL's reign of horror. I want to thank Vice President Biden, Secretaries Kerry and Hagel, and General Marty Dempsey for their leadership in advancing our strategy. Even as we meet this challenge in Iraq and Syria, we all agree that one of our weapons against terrorists like ISIL, a critical part of our strategy, is the values we live here at home. One of the best antidotes to the hateful ideologies that try to recruit and radicalize people to violent extremism is our own example as diverse and tolerant societies that welcome the contributions of all people, including people of all faiths. The resolution we've submitted today does not call for the deployment of U.S. ground combat forces to Iraq or Syria. It is not the authorization of another ground war, like Afghanistan or Iraq. The 2,600 American troops in Iraq today largely serve on bases. And yes, they face the risks that come with service in any dangerous environment, but they do not have a combat mission. They are focused on training Iraqi forces, including Kurdish forces. As I've said before, I'm convinced that the United States should not get dragged back into another prolonged ground war in the Middle East. That's not in our national security interest, and it's not necessary for us to defeat ISIL.
Really, Mr. President? Are you kidding me? No ground troops? Come on now. This is just ridiculous, okay? Now, I question your strategy because this is not really the way that you should fight and defeat an enemy here. All right, now, because this, we can discuss it all you want, but let me just come to bring up something that is quite interesting and quite relevant to what we've been talking about. But anyhow, now it sounds familiar, vaguely familiar, okay, that this president, okay, does not want to send ground troops, okay, does not want to so-called get us boggled up into a war, but you know what, we already have been declared war on Islamic extremism. All right, and this administration refuses to call this strategy refuses to call the terrorists what they are, all right, okay, but it's like this right here, okay. Now, Obama.
We do ourselves a disservice in this fight if we are not taking into account the fact that the overwhelming majority of Muslims reject this ideology.
Violent extremism is something that we want to be focused on, and it's not just Islamic violent extremism.
We're going to focus on all the different kinds of extremism with a heavy focus on people who do this in the name of Islam. We would say falsely in the name of Islam, but there are other forms of extremism that are also important.
Let's make two things clear. ISIL is not Islamic. No religion condones the killing of innocents.
Okay, so given this strategy here, that they refuse to identify the enemy and their ideology, which is Islamic extremism, okay, and they refuse to send ground troops, all right, and so they refuse to send ground troops, all right, but let me repeat, okay, let me repeat, all right. Okay, there are many people, okay, top military officials, that say that you will not defeat this enemy without ground troops, okay, without sending ground troops. So take a look at this, all right, right here, okay.
Doing this through air power alone, without corresponding ground forces, is a next to impossible task.
It's going to take more than what we're doing right now, George. There's just no question of this.
The only thing we can do is take the fight to these guys in Iraq and Syria.
We really don't have an effective strategy that is coherent, that actually addresses the wider problem.
We need American forces in the forward edge of the battle area.
And you need probably 50, 75, 100,000 troops to be able to deal with ISIS in both Iraq and in Syria.
Yep. And so, being that this administration does not want to do that, okay, they have what is called a failed strategy. All right. So ISIS. So let's take a look at the facts here. Okay. ISIS has been growing stronger and stronger every day. Okay. Under this president and under this strategy, and you know, you got to wonder, you know, that ISIS is sitting there watching that, right? And they're like, oh, so the president of the United States just announced that this is not a resolution to go to war or send combat troops, right? So they're listening to this and they're thinking, oh, so that's just gonna embolden us, okay? That's just gonna embolden the terrorists more, all right? So knowing that the United States does not have the backbone to send ground troops, all right, that's just going to embolden the terrorists, all right, and that's just going to encourage them to recruit even more, okay? So they're going to use that as a recruitment tool, which they already have been, all right, knowing that the United States of America does not have the backbone to send ground troops, all right, to send forces on the ground, all right. You know, and mind you, he did say that this is going to take time, so he's expanded it to a 3-year span. All right, a 3-year span. So he's taken it all the way into the next president. Okay, to the next president's term, to be looked at when the next president, for the next president. Okay, but I want to show this though. Okay. This is a premonition from former President George W. Bush, okay, back in 2007, I believe. Remember this? Okay. All right.
Begin withdrawing before our commanders tell us we are ready would be dangerous for Iraq, for the region, and for the United States. It would mean surrendering the future of Iraq to al-Qaeda. It'd mean that we'd be risking mass killings on a horrific scale. It would mean we'd allow the terrorists to establish a safe haven in Iraq to replace the one they lost in Afghanistan. It would mean increasing the probability that American troops would have to return at some later date to confront an enemy that is even more dangerous.
What President Bush said in that statement is absolutely right on point. Absolutely true. Okay, right then and there. All right. Okay. But now, okay, now, mind you, President Bush said something similar, okay, in his last State of the Union address. Okay. Now, in his last State of the Union address. Okay, I want you to take a listen to this. All right. So, anyhow, okay, yeah. But in his last State of the Union address, he mentioned something quite similar. Okay, to that. All right, and it's quite amazing. Okay, that here it is. Okay, he said something similar. Here it is. Okay, wait a minute now. All right, let's go back here. All right, oops. Okay, wait. Next. Okay, so here it is.
Enemies in Iraq have been hit hard. They are not yet defeated, and we can still expect tough fighting ahead. Our objective in the coming year is to sustain and build on the gains we made in 2007 while transitioning to the next phase of our strategy. American troops are shifting from leading operations to partnering with Iraqi forces and eventually to a protective Overwatch mission. As part of this transition, one Army Brigade combat team and one Marine Expeditionary Unit have already come home and will not be replaced. In the coming months, 4 additional brigades and 2 Marine battalions will follow suit. Taken together, this means more than 20,000 of our troops are coming home. Any further drawdown of U.S. troops will be based on conditions in Iraq and the recommendations of our commanders. General Petraeus has warned that too fast a drawdown could result in, quote, the disintegration of the Iraqi security forces, Al-Qaeda Iraq regaining lost ground, and a marked increase in violence. Members of Congress, having come so far and achieved so much, we must not allow this to happen.
Yep. Okay. And every word of that is absolutely true, too. All right. Okay. Now, once we left Iraq under Obama, okay, the terrorists moved back in because we were crippling Al Qaeda under President Bush. Okay, and then what happened was that there was an incident where Al Qaeda in Iraq just grew and expanded. All right. Okay, and then Obama pulled our troops out. Okay, and then formed ISIS. All right, but the president's strategy is not a good strategy. Not a good strategy. All right, but anyhow, all right, and so we move on, my friends. Okay, and so we move on, my friends. Okay, okay, to this. All right, now I want to get into this, mind you. All right, now Brian Williams has been suspended. Okay, so Brian Williams has been suspended for 6 months. The NBC News has announced that Brian Williams has been suspended. That's right. Okay, suspended for his little lying to about stories and stuff. And let me show you. Okay, the first time in 10 years that the network has taken his name off the front slate of the network newscast. Okay, they've taken his name off the broadcast website and everything else. Take a look. All right, take a look at this.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, This is NBC Nightly News. Reporting tonight, Lester Holt.
First time in 10 years that has happened. Okay. Brian Williams suspended for 6 months for his stories about the Iraq War and whatnot. And okay, but you know, and it's quite amazing that we have an anchor, managing editor, okay, managing editor for a major newscast, all right, major newscast, all right, going in that direction here, all right, but we examined his stories, okay, about the Iraq War, all right, and about Katrina, okay, but it strikes me as odd, okay, that those news stories, those particular news stories, okay, why would Brian Williams lie about those stories? Could it be his animosity towards George W. Bush, perhaps? All right. Okay. And this came as a tremendous point in history. Okay. Tremendous point in history where he just came across as not reporting the right stuff. But let me show you this, okay? And this was a Katrina interview, okay? Brian Williams interviewing former President Bush during Katrina. Take a look at this. All right.
We always talk about what you're reading. As you know, there was a report that you have just read the works of a French philosopher. Can you tell us the backstory of Camus?
The backstory of the book?
Well, what led you?
I was in Crawford, and I said I was looking for a book to read, and Laura said you ought to try Camus. I also read 3 Shakespeare's. Yeah.
This is a change. You just years ago were reading the life story of Joe DiMaggio by Richard Ben Kramer,
which is a good book.
Serves. You've been on a Teddy Roosevelt reading kick.
Yeah, I'm reading about the Battle of New Orleans right now. I've got an eclectic reading list.
And now Camus.
Well, that was a couple of books ago. Let me look. The key for me is to keep expectations low.
Is that what everyone doesn't get?
I don't know, Brian, what they get or don't get. My life.
And also in that interview, he asked, since former President Bush and former President Clinton got so close with their relief organization, he asked Bush 43 if 41 and if 41 was closer to 40 than 43. Okay, and that was the extent of the interview. But my friends, so we've examined a lot here. All right, and but I want to take it to okay. So I want to take it to Political Point magazine's Political Point of Vision. All right, and so in this, okay, we're gonna examine now since Brian Williams lied, okay, and he's suspended, and it doesn't look like he's ever coming back. All right, but we take this to another level, and we hold standards of politicians to the same standard as reporters now too, because now we're going to examine the lies of Hillary Clinton. All right, now we all know that at the front of the Democratic Party, as far as the 2016 race is concerned, that Hillary Clinton is at the top, right? Okay, but okay, we all know that Hillary Clinton is a liar as well. Okay, Now, you remember this coming from Hillary.
Right.
Okay, when it came to the allegations of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, she lied and blamed conservatives for the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Okay, take a look at this.
The great story here, for anybody willing to find it and write about it and explain it, is this vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he announced for president.
Oh, really? Okay. And then there was the remember she lied about the coming to under sniper fire in Iraq. Okay, remember this? Okay, remember that?
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was supposed to be some kind of a greeting ceremony at the airport, but instead we just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles to get to our base.
Really? And then but she was greeted by children in Iraq. Okay, that story was not true. And then of course there when she was Secretary of State, okay, she blamed the attack of Benghazi on the YouTube video. Okay, remember this.
We've seen the heavy assault on our post in Benghazi that took the lives of those brave men. We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
Really? Now. And then, okay. But then, of course, okay, there's her story that when she met Edmund Hillary, she said she was named after Edmund Hillary. Okay, that this is the guy that was known for climbing Mount Everest in 1953. However, that story was false because Edmund Hillary, okay, climbed Mount Everest in 1953, right? Hillary was born in 1947. Okay, so that, my friends, proved not to be true. Okay, so if Hillary was named after Edmund Hillary, then yeah, I'm named after William Tell. All right, yeah, sure. Okay, but anyhow, okay, that, my friends, is quite the news here. Okay, but also we cannot forget that Hillary is such a liar. In fact, we can't forget all of her flip-flops as well, too. All right, and I will get into that. Okay, but we cannot forget all of her flip-flops on the Iraq War and stuff like that. Okay, but anyhow, okay, but anyhow, she flip-flopped on the wars and all this other nonsense. All right, but I want to get into a lot of other things. All right, but anyhow, Scott Walker. Okay, yeah, but let's get into some other stuff. Some main stuff. All right, coming up now. Okay, okay, and now next month. Okay, on March 3rd. Okay, Netanyahu is coming to address Congress. All right, and now this comes on the heels of the invitation from Speaker John Boehner. Okay, now upon hearing this, Obama, see Boehner did not consult with Boehner did not consult with the president and the White House on this. All right, so Obama and we all know there's animosity between Netanyahu and the president, right? Okay, but Netanyahu is set to address the Congress next month on the 3rd, March 3rd. All right, and I think it's a good idea. All right, I think it's a good idea. All right, because now we've been learning a lot of what has been transpired. All right, has been transpired here. All right, but on this note here, we learned that one of Obama's now the administration claims that they don't want to meet with Netanyahu because it's so close to the election, the Israeli election, right? But then again, we did some digging, okay, into this story, and it turns out that Obama's field manager, his campaign field manager, is in Israel right now, okay? Is in Israel right now, okay? And he's trying to influence the Israeli election, okay? And so this comes as quite the scandal here, all right? This is why we've discovered that that Obama and the administration is lying about their reasons why they don't want to meet with Netanyahu. All right, now, and we've discovered this. All right, but Obama's field manager, okay, his campaign field manager, is over in Israel right now, and he's trying to influence the Israeli election. Okay, now we all know that Obama and the Israeli prime minister don't really get along. They aren't on real good terms, and Obama would love to see his administration ousted, and so this is quite the partisan political move for Obama to claim that just because it's so close to the Israeli election that they don't want to meet with Netanyahu. All right, and it's quite interesting. All right, that now, all right, but I wanted to bring this up because Netanyahu is our friend and ally. Okay, we should have no qualms with the Israeli prime minister. But notice that when it came to combating terrorists and like the ones in France, okay. Now we know that that Obama didn't show up to the terrorism rally, okay. But sure, he'll meet with Angela Merkel, okay, right, from Germany, right? But he won't meet with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. You know, it's quite odd. Why in the world is he doing this? All right, why in the world is he doing this? Okay, but his field manager now. And we now know that his field manager is out there. All right. Okay. All right. And so, if anybody is out there listening, okay, we want your view. Okay. So I'm gonna show you this. Okay. But this is. Whoops. Hold up a second. Okay. This.
Obama, the Kelly.
This right here is Barack Obama's field manager, okay, and he's the one that's in Israel right now, all right, okay, but anyhow, my friends, okay, that is quite interesting. All right, and I want to get to okay, now Scott Walker, okay, and now this is quite interesting, my friends. Okay, Scott Walker now rises to the top of the Republican 2016 race. All right, now, and it is quite interesting. All right, how everything has been going down since Romney dropped out of the race. Scott Walker comes in to the race. All right, and I want to show you this. Okay, all right, okay. Back to this here. All right, but anyhow, Scott Walker has the blueprint as our good friend Rush Limbaugh has said, okay? As our good friend Rush Limbaugh has said, all right? And I'm going to show you the clip from Rush Limbaugh, all right? Because this is the way it is, all right? Now, okay? Now, Scott Walker has the blueprint, 3-time champion, all right? And, okay, but I'm going to show you the clip from Rush Limbaugh, all right? Rush Limbaugh came out, okay, in support of Scott Walker, all right? So take a look at this, okay, right here. Okay, whoops.
Blueprint for winning and winning consistently and winning big in a blue state with conservative principles that are offered with absolutely no excuses.
Scott Walker, okay? Now he said Scott Walker has the blueprint for winning and winning big in a blue state, okay, Wisconsin, okay? Now, he's improved that state and everything else, all right? But, however, my friends, okay, so now Scott Walker rises up, and I really think that he might get the nomination, okay? So, with that in mind, my friends, okay, the number to call, okay, if you are watching and paying attention, all right, if you are watching the call, okay, the number, okay, is, okay, 272-0319, okay, and we just got a little bit of time left to go here, all right, and so, my friends, this is the way it is, all right, and so, we've explained everything thoroughly here, all right, and we now have our sights in our sights. So, with all the political goings-ons that are going on today, all right, my friends, okay, okay. Now while I'm waiting for calls here, okay, I want to show you a lot of things that have been going on, okay, but number one, we don't want Hillary. However, we know that Brian Williams has gotten ganked, okay, and on that note, my friends, okay, while I'm waiting for calls, you know Jon Stewart, okay, Jon Stewart announced that he is dropping out of, he is leaving The Daily Show on Comedy Central. Now, now I heard Dennis Miller said that that since Brian Williams is out of NBC, the Peacock Network, he should host The Daily Show. Because he's into comedy. You know, that would be a good spot for him. All right. But anyhow, okay, here's Jon Stewart.
Comedy Central gave me an incredible opportunity 17 years ago to pilot this wonderful franchise. In my heart, I know it is time for someone else to have that opportunity. But this show doesn't deserve an even slightly restless host, and neither do you.
Okay, well, now, you see, And now, okay, so now let's since I only have a limited amount of time, okay, so it's 2720319. All right, I may just have to get into the last words for the night, okay, and the last words for the night, my friends, okay, tonight, okay, now our good buddy Eric Holder has our good buddy Eric Holder was on MSNBC, okay, and the reporter, the woman interviewing him gave him some tough questions, all right, but this one in particular really struck me. All right, now, all right. So take a look at this. All right, take a look. All right. Now.
You know, we call you the duck in Nerdland.
The duck.
We call you the duck. So in Nerdland, we say you have a very sort of placid and even way of presenting, but you are just working for justice underneath. Would you quack for us?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but I like the analogy.
You do like the analogy, good.
You like the analogy, but Eric Holder, would you quack for us? Oh, please, is it over? Oh, man. Quack like a duck for us. Would you quack for us? Oh, jeez. I was just waiting for her to propose to him. Oh, that's just horrible. Okay, but on that note, my friends, that is all the time we have left for tonight. That is the last words for the night, and we thank you for watching Political Point. Follow me on Twitter at WilliamMetro2, and we thank you for watching, and also catch us on YouTube. Okay, once again, we thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history.